Hi everyone, this is the Nordic Venture Show, your guide to the exciting world of Nordic startups and venture capital. In today's episode, we're exploring a startup called Fever.
Welcome to your deep dive. This time we're diving into Fever, a company making waves in renewable energy. We've got a stack of articles and notes you sent, and it seems like they've got some big ideas and even bigger personality on LinkedIn, and maybe a thing for pickle smoothies. So, ready to get energized and decode Fever? I am. What's the first spark that catches your eye with Fever?
You know, it's funny. It's the contrast, really. You see services for renewable energy, and you think, okay, Stockholm-based, founded in 2022, sort of standard. But then you dig a little deeper, and you see them working with some heavy hitters. We're talking major energy companies, EV manufacturers, even data centers. Not exactly who you'd picture partnering with a quirky startup.
It's like they're trying to hack the energy grid with a laptop and a good Wi-Fi connection. But seriously, why do you think these big names are willing to play ball with a young company like Fever?
Well, it seems like Fever's tech is being taken very seriously. Specifically, their virtual power plant platform. These big players, they're always looking for an edge, right? Something to give them an advantage in a rapidly changing industry. Fever might just be that edge.
Okay, so let's break down this virtual power plant. Their website keeps mentioning software and modeling as the key, not just building more solar panels and wind farms. What's the energy download there?
Fever's whole philosophy is that the future of energy is about brains, not just brawn. Imagine a network that connects everything. Solar panels, wind turbines, even the batteries in all those electric vehicles. That's what they're building. Fever's platform would be the conductor, analyzing data in real time, predicting energy needs, and making sure that energy gets where it needs to go exactly when it needs to be there.
So instead of just generating more green energy, it's about using the energy we already have in a smarter way, like giving the energy grid an upgrade. And speaking of upgrades, can we talk about this team they've assembled? It's like they raided the Silicon Valley Hall of Fame, Spotify, PayPal, Volvo cars.
Oh yeah, and don't forget the backing from major venture capitalists like General Catalyst. That kind of financial firepower, combined with the pedigree of their team, tells you they mean business. This isn't just some save the planet from our garage operation.
Right. Speaking of not your average operation, can we address their, let's say, unique LinkedIn presence? I mean, new employee introductions featuring their favorite pickle smoothie recipes. It's a choice. But with all this talk of disrupting the energy sector, shouldn't they be focused on more, serious matters?
That's the million-dollar question. On the one hand, you have to stand out, right? Especially in a field that often takes itself very, very seriously. They're clearly trying to attract the best of the best. Engineers, developers, data scientists. A company culture that embraces a little weirdness can be a good thing.
But could it be a turnoff for some? I mean, is a quirky LinkedIn presence enough to outweigh the challenges of tackling something as massive as global energy?
It's a balancing act for sure. But think about the kind of people they're trying to reach, right? We're not talking about your average 9-to-5ers here. These are brilliant minds, innovators, people who want to push boundaries, a company culture that embraces a little quirkiness. That can be a breath of fresh air.
So maybe a pickle smoothie isn't just a drink, it's a test to see who gets it. I like it. But let's move from the digital world to the real world for a second, yeah? I mean, we see their CEO rubbing shoulders with politicians, that sifted article hinting at some huge global potential. This feels like more than just online hype, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's about strategy. They're playing the long game, building those crucial relationships, especially in a field as regulated as energy. And that sifted piece. They weren't just impressed. They saw Fever as a potential game changer on a global scale.
Okay, so big vision, check. Building relationships, check. But how does this virtual power plant actually work in real life? Give me an example I can wrap my head around.
All right, picture this. A scorching summer day. Everyone's cranking the AC, right? The energy grid is under immense stress, on the verge of collapse, blackouts looming. Now, with Fever's platform, the system can tap into all those underutilized energy sources. Think about your electric car, just sitting in the garage, battery full.
Hold on, are you saying my car could become like a mini power plant?
Exactly. Because Fever is always analyzing data, predicting those peaks in demand, it can incentivize users to participate. Get a discount on charging your car, maybe even get paid for the energy your car feeds back into the grid.
So it's a win-win, you get cheaper energy, and the grid stays stable. That's pretty amazing. But let's talk about the challenges. Building a software platform is one thing, but to actually transform the entire energy grid, that's a whole other level.
Absolutely. Scalability is a huge question. Their tech might work flawlessly on a small scale, but can it handle the complexities of a national, even global energy grid? That remains to be seen.
And what about the bureaucracy? The energy sector isn't exactly known for being flexible, is it?
It's true. They'll need to work hand in hand with governments, regulatory bodies, to make sure everything integrates properly and follows all the rules. That's not going to be easy.
And they're not the only ones with their eyes on this prize. The renewable energy sector is getting pretty crowded. How does Fever measure up to the competition?
Oh, the competition is fierce, for sure. But Fever's approach, this combination of high-level tech and a bold, even playful vision, that could give them the edge. Whether it's enough to really disrupt the industry, that's the billion-dollar question.
Okay, so we've got ambition, cutting-edge tech, pickle smoothies. It sounds like Fever is bringing some new energy to the energy sector, if you'll pardon the pun. But for our listener, what's the big takeaway here? What's the one thing you want them to remember from this deep dive?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that Fever represents a real shift in how we think about energy. It's not just about building more power plants. It's about making the whole system smarter, more adaptable, more sustainable.
So it's about using technology to, like, outsmart the problem, not just trying to overpower it.
Exactly. It's about data. Using data to make better decisions. How we generate energy, distribute it, even how we use it.
It's almost like they're taking the whole smart home concept and applying it to the whole planet, let's say just for fun. That Fever pulls this off. What does that world look like? Give me the utopia version.
Well, in that world, renewables aren't the alternative anymore. They're just energy, seamlessly integrated into the grid, providing clean, reliable power. Blackouts, a thing of the past. Stable energy costs, more equitable access, and your electric car. That's not just transportation. It's part of the solution, storing and sharing energy to keep everything running smoothly.
It's a bold vision, that's for sure. And while we talked about some of the hurdles, there's a part of me that's, I don't know, kind of excited about this. Is it too early to say if Fever can actually pull this off?
It's definitely early days. Revolutionizing an industry is never easy. But they've got the tech, they've got the vision, and they're not afraid to do things differently. Whether that's enough to overcome the challenges, to really transform the energy landscape, well, that's the billion-dollar question. One thing's for sure, though. We'll be hearing a lot more about Fever in the years to come.
Well, on that note, I think we'll have to wrap up this deep dive. It seems like Fever is challenging us to rethink not just our energy sources, but our whole relationship with energy. We'll leave you with that thought. Until next time, stay curious.
Thanks for listening to the Nordic Venture Show. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories of innovation from the Nordics.